This one is actually the first one of my History for Dummies, which is what I call the thing my study technique, which is what I've been doing for you guys. This is the first one I wrote back when we were going to write that paper for Mr. Hillstad, and so I wrote it as if this was the essay I was typing to him. We have to understand that World War II allies were never going to last. Stalin was originally holding a secret alliance with Hitler, but when Hitler broke his heart, Stalin had to move on and get revenge. While Britain, the out-of-touch old man, and his son, America, always looking for a fight, weren't exactly excited about working with the communists, they needed the backup. Soviets ended up bearing the brunt of the casualties for the war, and while the Allies had a few conferences such as Yalta to figure out post-World War II Europe, they didn't exactly agree. Stalin wanted more land. The United States and Great Britain didn't want to give it. But as old man Great Britain began to lose power as a world power, the world saw a shift in politics. So suddenly it was a bipolar world with two major world powers who hated each other. Why exactly? Well, in addition to their differing ideologies, they were also trying to dominate each other through money, and suspicion gave way to mistrust, which made a relationship hard to keep up. Superweapons had been built that would have been catastrophic to use, so the war was fought in other ways. They used other countries as battlegrounds. Proxy wars where the big two helped or hindered their allies as a way to hurt the other side. But when neutral countries, and aligned countries too, began pulling the big two around, the Cold War was dragged out through the actions of allies, even as Soviets and the U.S. wanted to stop it. The Suez Canal crisis is an example of a neutral state and allies being leading the big two around. But can any country truly stay neutral in a bipolar world? And here's a little Suez Crisis mini-story. Truman, he was a good guy because he only used the atomic bomb on Japan. He took away control of the military and put it into presidential hands, according to Gaddis. You know, that big book we had to read. That big book you can go reread, or reread your notes for if you're good at taking notes and keeping them. Stalin, he did some stuff. Eisenhower thought the bomb was wrong to use. Oh god, I'm gonna botch this name. Malenkov, Malenkov, didn't want to use the bomb, so he was weak by Gaddis' standards. And then Khrushchev continued to threaten the use of atomic weapons he didn't have. John F. Kennedy called Khrushchev out on his shit. That's all I really want to talk about for the people. Being neutral in the Cold War. So, the Aswan Dam, Nasser needed money and he went to the West for help. Nasser asked the US for arms, but they're busy, so he goes to the Czechs, indirectly the Soviets, because the Soviets were the ones giving the Czechs the stuff. Anyway, suddenly the US is like, wait, no. And the West stops funding the damn dam. Nasser takes the canal as a national thingy. Wait a second. Yes. Britain attacks, Egypt fights back, the entire world is like, what the fuck, Eden? Eden was the prime minister in Britain at the time. Khrushchev is threatening nukes again. US is like, you better stop. Britain recedes in shame, and Eden resigns. Nasser is an Arab hero because of the fact that the whole, like, you stood up to the West, you managed to make them bend at your will. Then he let it get to his head, and some bad things happened, and things really fell apart for him. As they do in history, you know, the fun topic. Eisenhower is like, Eisenhower doctor, and let's protect these countries from communism, even though they don't want our help. Such fun times. History is a real good time, folks. Make sure to study more than this, because this is certainly not a very extensive one. It's, in fact, I think my least extensive one among the ones I've done, but I'm not going to redo it, because I made this one first.